It's August 18th. JLD here, and welcome to MSTR and the Treasury Titans. Today we have a lot to talk about. Things have changed. Oh, how things have changed. Nothing in this video is financial advice, but please do hit that like button. We have some great content coming up for you around MSTR, around Bitcoin, around all the awesomeness. So let's just dive right into boom. Adrian Morris letting us know that today is dot day, and by dot day, he means Michael Saylor and Strategy bought Bitcoin. Because a known fact, insufficient orange is a chronic condition and a major source of physical and emotional stress for 100% of Bitcoin holders. We don't want insufficient orange in our bank accounts. We want more than sufficient. And guess what? Michael Saylor posted insufficient orange yesterday, alerting us that he bought Bitcoin in the past week. Of course, adding it to the stack. Now, what was the adding to the stack? Well, they acquired 430 Bitcoin for $51.4 million at $119,666 per Bitcoin. They have a Bitcoin yield of 21.5% year to date. And as of 8/17/2025, we hodl 629,376 Bitcoin acquired for $46 billion at 73,320 per Bitcoin. Ba-boom. So Chris comes in to fill us in with the weekly ATM proceeds. Strike was 19.3 million. Strife was 19 million, and Stride was 12.1. And you can see right here as the earnings was a quiet time right here, but now they are starting to build the momentum back. And of course, until Stretch hits 100, it is unlikely they will hit the Stretch ATM, because that is the whole point of Stretch, is to get it to 100 and then keep it there. The Bitcoin therapist wants us to know about the new Strategy updates, because Strategy updated their MSTR common stock ATM issuance guidelines. They are now planning to tactically issue MSTR under 2.5 MNAV to pay interest on their debt obligations. So this was quite the news. This was quite the theme that was bopping around on X. Is why did MSTR change their guidance from their Q2 earnings call? Well, I'll be getting to that in a second, but before I talk about it, what exactly is the new guidance? The new guidance is that below a 1x MNAV, Strategy will consider to issue credit to repurchase MSTR. Boom, make it happen. That's below $210. Between 210 to 600, which is 1 to 2.5, Strategy will tactically issue MSTR to 1, pay interest on debt obligations, 2, fund preferred equity dividends, and 3, and this is the key, when otherwise deemed advantageous to the company. So they are bringing back in the optionality to hit the ATM under 2.5 when it's advantageous to the company. And guess what? I have and always will trust Michael Saylor and the Strategy team to make the right decisions. So I am personally really glad this is in. We'll talk about some more details around this in a second. Between 2.5 and 4, they will opportunistically issue MSTR to acquire Bitcoin, and then and then over 4 MNAV, they will actively issue MSTR to acquire Bitcoin. Let's go. So Chris breaks this down a little bit here. He says, I'm speculating here, but my interpretation of this revision points to two things. One, Strategy's management expected the stock to immediately trade to a greater than 2.5 MNAV following the initial MNAV guidance around the ATM, which would have allowed them to use it. The thing is, the ATM was never the problem in the first place. 2, Strategy's management wants to preserve optionality. Maximizing optionality is always a good idea. 3, we are all learning in real time, including Strategy's management. Strategy realized that, hey, the Bitcoin market's kind of gone to a little choppy, a little downy period right now. Went from 124 down to 115, and now it's kind of chopping around 116 right now, where it's been for, it seems like, quite a decent amount of time, like at least a month is when it bopped up to 116 initially. So it's been chopping here for a while. And until Strategy's MNAV gets above 2.5, they had really tied their hands to not be able to use the ATM, so that you saw this very overall comparatively low dollar amount compared to past weeks of ATM for MSTR, because they did not hit the ATM at all during the week. The common ATM because of their guidance. But they said, hey, this is not what's best for the company. We are realizing this now. And we realize also that our ATM is not the reason that MSTR stock has been dampening. So we are going to put this back in the optionality. So when it makes sense for us to hit the ATM, and by us, of course, I mean strategy, MSTR, they are going to do that. Because guess what? We are in a Bitcoin gold rush. And the goal is to acquire, excuse me, as much Bitcoin as humanly possible over the next 10 years. Michael Saylor said that time and time again. If you are not on board with that, you should not hold strategy. You should not buy MSTR. You should sell your MSTR, not financial advice. If you are not on board with them acquiring as much Bitcoin as possible, I invest and own MSTR because I want them to hold and to acquire as much Bitcoin as humanly possible during this gold rush, because I know what the future will hold when they do this. Every Bitcoin bought now is just an amazing store of value for the future. Like, let's go. That's the deal. There's no reason. There's no reason to say, hey, I'm not on board with this anymore, and go back to just buying Bitcoin, to go back to buying a Bitcoin ETF, to go back to buying whatever it is that you want to buy. But man, I'm glad they put this back in, and I am looking forward to seeing bigger buys coming up in the future as we roll. The Bitcoin therapist says, why do I want to have exposure to strategy? 5-year returns. MSTR's 2,390%, Bitcoin's 909%. I'm paying a premium for volatility, and volatility goes both ways. It's important to think clearly during times like these. I'm a buyer here. Bitcoin is 70% of my portfolio. MSTR is 28%. And again, this is the Bitcoin therapist. And you can see over the past 5 years, 2,390%. Bitcoin, 909%. They're both amazing. One's better than the other. Justin, Michael Saylor's strategy could join the S&P 500 as early as September, according to Strive. S&P inclusion means passive exposure, Bitcoin exposure in trillions worth of portfolios. Let's go. And on this point as well, just in, says the Bitcoin therapist, Josh Mandel, a legendary trader who correctly predicted the price of Bitcoin to the dollar 6 months in advance, believes the strategy's inclusion to the S&P 500 has already been confirmed. Note, there is no official evidence of this, but it was posted here by Josh. No, it's already done. They are included. I guess they haven't announced it yet. Now, listen, Josh is an interesting person. Believe what you will believe, but that is his statement. The Bitcoin therapist says, so strategy is allowed to print more MSTR again and buy a F ton of Bitcoin. Sounds good. I'm in. And I feel the exact same way. Period. End of story. This is now a little Metaplanet love. Metaplanet now holds 2.18 billion of Bitcoin, just 0.12 billion outstanding, 0% ordinary bonds. Our 19th series ordinary bonds are 18.67x over collateralized by our Bitcoin position, and currently represent the sole liability within our capital structure. And now they hold 18,888 Bitcoin. They acquired 775 Bitcoin this past week, which is actually more than strategy. Whoa, going. They're catching up. Just kidding. They'll always be a distant second at best. Right now, they're, I believe, in 5th or 6th place, but they're doing fantastic. I love it. And I just wanted to share this one post by Anthony Pompliano because I just loved it. It kind of made me stop and reflect for a second, and I hope it does the same to you. It is loud when a tree falls, but silent when a tree grows. Just think about that. In my belief, MSTR is growing. Bitcoin is growing. Adoption, you name it, it is happening. And sometimes it's silence. It doesn't mean it's not happening. And now we have a great video clip of Michael Saylor himself. So let's sit back and enjoy. PayPal just made it official. They're letting U.S. merchants accept Bitcoin. That's not just a news story. It's a sign of where things are going, and it raises a critical question. If the world is shifting toward Bitcoin, are you doing enough to participate? Because here's a powerful way to go further. Convert an old 401k or IRA into a crypto IRA with the help of Bit IRA. Bit IRA will help you convert it free of taxes or penalties. And here's why you'll love them. End-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and registered with the U.S. government. And it's fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without taxes incurred on any buys or sells. If you already put money into an IRA or employer sponsor 401k on a regular basis, why not invest into a Bitcoin IRA each month? Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Again, that's bitira.com/JLD to open a tax sheltered IRA in Bitcoin.
Dollars of capital are flowing into the network. It's going to go from 2 billion to 20 billion to 200 billion to 2 trillion to 20 trillion to 200 trillion. And when it gets to 200 trillion, it'll chop along at plus 20% to eventually 300, 400, 500 trillion dollars. And where is that capital going to come from? It's going to come from Russian real estate. It's going to come from Chinese private equity. It's going to come from everything in Africa, everything in South America. You have capital flowing from foreign financial and physical assets to Bitcoin. You have capital flowing from 20th century assets to Bitcoin. Capital is going to flow from the 20th century to the 21st century. It's going to flow from physical to digital. It's going to flow from currency-based derivatives to a digital commodity derivative. So it's already happening. It's unstoppable. It's literally like, for me to say Bitcoin's going to demonetize gold understates it. Yeah, it's going to demonetize gold. Then it's going to demonetize the real estate that's 10x more than gold. Then it's going to demonetize every long-term store of value. So what you have is a situation like the Europeans show up and they give like some Dutch guilders or some pieces of paper or some glass beads or seashells or stone coins to people using a more primitive form of money. And we have the opportunity to, in essence, just grab 10, 20, 25% of the network, let the entire dynamic flow, and it's going to accelerate. And when the dust settles, the American people will own 25, 30% of that capital.
What's the second best? There is no second best.